I loved my friend. I didn't expect to love my friend. I had no expectations. Swiping and swiping on apps, talking about horror movies, baking, traveling, and zucchini bread. Sure, I'll go on a date with you. What's the worst that could happen? I wore all black to our first date, maybe as a metaphor of the darkening of my heart from years of letdown lies, mistreatment, and just bullshit. My heart was charred from the past, but my heart became ignited from the flames of Tinder, the 90-degree sun scorching me, the flames of desire, and the hopes of something actually meaningful happening. Our first date was 8 hours long. I called it a marathon date, and that described my love for you, a marathon. My heart was dark, became reignited, softened, and conditioned. My love had the conditioning to last a marathon, but our relationship was a sprint. I loved my friend. I loved so much about you. I loved your loose curly hair that you kept in Dave East braids. I loved your dark brown skin. I loved your almond eyes. I loved your soft smile. I loved your slender East African features. I loved the way you made me feel. I loved how you held my hands and rubbed my feet. I loved how you understood me. I loved how you laughed with me and cried with me, challenged me, supported me. I loved the way you loved your family and you were a leader. I loved how hardworking you were. I love that we debated on our marathon and we sat on a ledge for hours and you taught me about your culture. I loved my friend. I love that our dates lasted until 3 a.m., either outside your car holding hands or sitting in your apartment talking about our hopes and our fears. All our dates were marathons. You made 8 hours feel like 8 months, like 8 years, like 8 lifetimes. I loved my friend. I love the way you held me, the way you made love to me, the way you spoke life into me. I love the way you made me feel. You made me feel vulnerable and brave. So I was brave and I told you I loved you. I loved my friend, but he went away from me. You told me you couldn't love yourself, or you told me you couldn't love me because you didn't love yourself. And you said this and you said that and you said this and you said that. And you started to sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 wah. And you went away from me. My heart became ignited, but your heart became singed. And when you eventually told me your truth, you tearfully told me your heart needed healing, your heart needed coping to finally begin grieving the loss of your son. And you went away from me. But honestly, our lives were pulling us in different directions, so it wasn't meant to be, no matter who left first, even though I left first. I loved my friend. He went away from me. There's nothing more to say. I loved you. I told you I loved you, and you said you wanted to stay friends. There's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to say. I always thought it was if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he would. But I realize now if he's not mentally and emotionally in the right place, he can't. There's not enough words, feelings, connections that can change that. He said I was one of the brightest parts of the darkest times of his life, and to be honest, the feeling was mutual, but unfortunately I never got to tell him that. I love my friend because he made me grow and he made me feel. The love I have is our love was ethereal, our love was spiritual, our love was elevated, our love was a marathon. Even though he said he didn't love me, I felt his love. I felt as though when he looked at me, when he held me, I knew he loved me. Our first date, we discussed what love meant, and I said it was a guttural, out-of-body inner light and inner glow. I knew I loved him because after our second date, I felt the reverberating from the top of my head to the tip of my toes, and it never went away. I saw my aura for the first time. I was levitating, I was radiating, I was light. He ignited that in me, and I loved my friend. My friends would ask me how I knew I loved him, and I would tell him, I knew he loved me on our third date when we were standing in his apartment, and he was holding me, looking down at me, and he said, it's only been 3 weeks, but I feel like I've known you a lifetime, and everything about you just feels so right. I loved my friend. He went away from me. There's nothing more to say. The poem ends soft as it began. I loved my friend. Thank you.